Hello, welcome to the webcast. My name is Mahesh Hariharan. I'm a program manager in the CRM product team. I'm here with Uma Maheshwari Anbaragan, another engineer in the team. We are here to talk about a new feature in CRM 2011 that will help customers and independent software vendors to integrate CRM 2011 with your line of business applications. So let's start off with a scenario. I'm just going to bring the scenario here and think of how you would actually integrate CRM Online with a line of business application. Typically, what developers do is that they write a small SDK client in the line of business application that pulls the CRM web service for changes. So maybe at regular intervals, you keep asking CRM Online for data. That's an okay solution, but then you run into problems of scale as more and more people get to do this because you keep asking the system for all the changes. The second approach that you can actually take is have a CRM plugin that actually calls into the line of business application. You run into a number of problems with that approach because in this case you have to worry about opening up your line of business application. So essentially I've indicated this in this picture by having a hole in the firewall because you actually have to let the CRM Online application call into your line of business application that's running inside your corporate. And we all know that IT doesn't like to open up the firewall. The other problems, potential problems, are the fact that you need to authenticate, which means you need to somehow store the username and password that you would use to call into the line of business application. As you're building enterprise-grade integration, you would also run into reliability issues because you want to make sure that any changes that happen between these two applications are reliably communicated, so and are not lost. So how do you handle retries and so on? So I'm happy to announce that in 2011 we have announced a new feature called outbound messaging through Azure that provides a number of capabilities and addresses most of the concerns that we just talked about. So let me just switch context and talk a little bit about Azure. Windows Azure AppFabric provides common building blocks that are required by most applications when extending their functionality to the cloud. So there are several components in AppFabric, and CRM Online specifically takes advantage of the first two listed here, Service Bus and Access Control. Service Bus, the main objective of Service Bus is to relay messages from clients through any kind of network obstacles. So essentially bypassing firewalls and NATs. It provides essentially connectivity as a service. Access Control provides authentication for all the cloud services. So let's talk about how CRM 2011 takes advantage of AppFabric to provide superior integration needs. So in this case, let's talk about a user who modifies some data in CRM Online. You as a third-party service, first you come and register in CRM Online, and you essentially indicate what messages you are interested in. So what kind of changes you are interested in. So as most of you know, you can already do that today using the rich eventing execution pipeline. But to take advantage of all the changes, you need to be running inside the CRM system. So what we have done here is we have essentially extended the eventing framework to the cloud. So you as a third-party system could be running a plugin anywhere, could be inside your firewalls, it could be out in the data center somewhere, and we would package up all the changes that you've registered for. For instance, let's say you're interested in knowing about all the account changes. We would, whenever someone comes and changes the account, we would package up the changes and send it through the service bus to your plugin. So it's important to understand that we tunnel the changes through the service bus because that's what helps us navigate the network obstacles that one might have. The other thing that I wanted to point out is also we take care of security, so we automatically authenticate against the access control service. So there is no need for us to actually authenticate against your service directly. So this is very important because that means that you don't have to transfer credentials to the CRM online service. So that's pretty much what the scenario is. So again, we think of this being useful in several sub-scenarios, like for instance, on-premise CRM to cloud ISV, on-premise line of business application to CRM Online is what we looked at. So it takes care of polling because you don't actually poll our system, but we let you know when changes happen. And we also take care of reliability because these changes go through our async queue. So for whatever reason we cannot reach you, we would actually retry at a later point in time. Again, like we mentioned, we also take care of access control and connectivity. We also think this is very useful for cloud, for an ISV, software as a service ISV, to integrate their service with different CRM deployments, whether they are on-premise or online, because it provides a uniform architecture for them to actually get all the changes from the different systems. So without further delay, let me actually ask Uma to show us a demo of this in action.
Hey, thanks Mahesh. As Mahesh mentioned, there are 3 elements to this integration. The first one is creating the service that listens for the messages that are sent from CRM. So our SDK has a set of samples that you can use. This is a 2-way listener that I'm going to use for a demo today. But there are also other samples like queue, one-way, REST listeners, which you can use. These listeners need to implement this service contracts. Every type of listener has its own service contract to implement. So that enables them to listen for the messages that we send from CRM plugins. So I'm going to use the 2-way listener for a demo. And the second element to this integration is exposing this web service in Azure. So I'm going to go to the Azure portal, and we need to buy an account. There is a free trial in which you can take advantage of. I've already got an account for the purpose of this demo, so I'm going to use the same. So I go to AppFabric Developer Portal. And I'm going to sign in, which takes me to my project, and I'm going to create a new service namespace. So I say add service namespace. So I'm saying CRM 2011 demo, and I'm going to check if it exists. So this is available, so I'm going to pick that. I'm going to pick one of the regions. I'm going to go for a minimum connection. Say create. So you can think of a service namespace as a container inside which you can expose all your services in Azure AppFabric. So it will take a moment to get this activated. So yes, it's activated now. Once you go there, you can see that it has a secret management key. So this management key is the secret key to access the service. So keep this as a secret. The third element to the integration is registering the plugins. I'm going to use the plugin registration tool that ships in the SDK to do this. So currently I'm connected to the CRM Online North America. So you give the discovery URL and you specify your username and you connect. I'm already connected to the organization, so all I have to do is I go and register a service endpoint. So what is a service endpoint? Service endpoint is an entity that contains all the details about your service that is hosted in Azure AppFabric. So you specify a name and a description, and I say integration, and I give a solution namespace which is CRM 2011 demo, and I give the path. So I'm going to, this path is as a path under which your service is exactly listening. So I'm going to say it is 2-way service demo 1, 2-way service demo, and then I pick the contract is two-way. So that there are various different contracts that you can use. I'll take a moment to explain those contracts to you. You would use a one-way contract if you're just interested in receiving the notification whenever there is some event happening in the CRM system. And you would use it if you don't care to send any data back to the CRM plugin. And the second one is the queue contract, which is also very similar to the first one, wherein you don't send the data back to the plugin, but it also takes advantage of the Azure AppFabric queues or message buffers. So you get the additional features of the message buffers, which are scalability and things like that. The third two-way REST contracts are the contracts which you would use if you want to send data back to the plugin. You'd use a REST contract if you want to communicate to an endpoint that supports RESTful programming model, and you can also return data to the plugin. So I'm going to use two-way here, and these are the two new features that we added in plugin registration tool to make this integration as seamless as possible. So what we are going to do is we're going to click and see if we are already authenticated into the service. No, you're not authenticated. Yes, because you have created the service, but you have not given permission for CRM to authenticate yet. So how do we authenticate? Simple. Just go save and configure ACS. You provide the management key. This is the secret key that we got when we created the service namespace. So we gave the management key, and the certificate file and issuer name can be found by clicking this link. This is a link to the developer portal. So I just log in to my organization. And once I log in, I'm right into that page. So these are the two details that I need. The issuer name, I'm going to copy this issuer name and paste it here. And this is the certificate. I'm going to download the certificate and store it on my path. Once I store that, I go here, browse to the file, see CRM-Azure, and this is the public certificate that denotes CRM Online. Once I get everything, I just click this button, configure ACS. I get this notification, do you want to continue? This is going to create some rules, issue a token policy, etc. I'm going to say yes. Please be aware that these actions cannot be undone without using the tool called ACM from Azure. I'm going to click OK, and it's configuring the service bus for me. What this is letting me do is, this is giving permission for my CRM organization to be able to post into this particular listener. You can also have finer levels of control, like at a user level and things like that. So what this has created issuers, created rules, so that your organization, this organization, can send to your service. And it has also created a couple of other rules with which you get that lets you listen to the service with these management keys. Okay, I'm going to say close, and then let's verify if it did its job. So this is going to verify authentication in a second. So basically what this operation is doing is it's queuing up a system job, an async job, which goes and checks whether it has access to this endpoint, and it said yes, so we got a success, so we are happy. So we'll say hit save. Now I'm going to register an out-of-box service bus plugin to show you how easy it is. So basically, before I jump in there, I'll tell you there are two types of plugins that you can use to make this integration possible. One is the out-of-box plugin, where you don't have to write even a single line of code. All you do is create a service endpoint, register a new step, and say create of lead. Okay, this is the event I'm interested in. I just say register a new step. Now I actually start the listener that shipped in the sample. I just compile that listener code. So this is the way to start a listener. I save my namespace, CRM 2011 demo, and the issuer name is owner, because I'm using the management key to authenticate. If I use some other ways of authentication, I would use a different issuer name. So once I have that, I take this management key, which I have right here. No. Yep, I got it. I get the management key and use it in the listener. And I have to give the same path that I gave in the service endpoint so that they both are in sync. I go here, get this moment, give it right here. So it's starting to listen at this address. Yes, it's ready to receive messages now. Now I have the listener ready. I have the plugin registered. Now I just have to go and trigger the plugin. So I'm going to create a lead. This is my organization. I'm going to log into my organization using my live ID. I'm logged in. I pick my organization. Click next. So I'm going to create a lead and show you how the data is sent to the listener that is listening at this endpoint. So I just go say new lead and give some information here. The company is ABC. Say save and close. What this has done is this has queued up an asynchronous job for me. If you notice, all the AppFabric communication is asynchronous. So this gives you, so the job has succeeded now. The advantages of having this jobs asynchronous is you also take advantage of the retry mechanism. Say for example, your listener is not up yet, or it just goes down for a little while. Then you don't want to lose the event, right? So what happens is this asynchronous job goes into the retry mode and it gets exponentially retried. So that's the advantage you get here. So this has succeeded and the listener got the data. So I saw that the full name is Smith and this is the lead ID, and I got notification as what is the message name, what is the entity name, and what was the stage it was fired on, and whether it's executing in transaction, and a lot of things. So isolation mode and things like that. So you also get this correlation ID, which you can use to correlate multiple operations that are triggered by the same operation. So once I have that, I go to, so now we already saw the demo of the out-of-box service bus plugin. So now I'm going to show you the custom service bus plugin. Sometimes you may want to do something more than what the out-of-box service bus plugin does for you. For example, you're returning some data from this two-way listener, right? If you look at this two-way listener, it's just returning a string message. I think in this case it is success or some simple string here. You may want to, in this execute method, you can see that it's returning a string called success. You may want to use the return string from your listener code into your plugin and do more operations into the SDK with that. So you can write your own custom plugin. This is another sample that ships in the SDK. This is a sample plugin that you can write your custom own plugin that posts into service bus. All you have to do is you have to get this context and just call this cloud service. From there, this is the sample code for getting the cloud service. Once you have the cloud service, all you have to do is cloud service.execute. You specify what is the service endpoint ID, and the plugin context will be posted, and you get this response back. You can use this response. Here I'm just printing out the response. I'm just tracing it in tracing service. So if there is an error, it will get traced. So you can use this response to make further operations in the plugin into the SDK or make other calls. So this plugin is compiled. I'm going to register the compiled version of this assembly. So I have it in CRM-Azure demo. So I get in there. So I get into this SDK sample code. Wait for a minute. Yes, it's under CS. Azure plugins. I get this plugin and I register this plugin. And I'm registering it in sandbox mode. This plugin can be registered in sandbox mode or non-sandbox mode. Because it's CRM Online, I'm registering it in sandbox mode. So once I have this plugin registered, I can register steps on it. So now I'm going to listen to update of contact. And I say this is an asynchronous plugin and I give this operation. So I'm going to pass on this service endpoint ID from here. So I've written my plugin in such a way that it looks from the context, the unsecure configuration field. You can write it in any way you want. So I am going to pass in the service endpoint ID from here, and I've updated it. I'm also going to register some images now. You can also register images for steps registered on out-of-box service bus plugin. I'm going to need pre and post image, and I need, I'm going to give my image, and this is the image, contact image. Entity alias is contact image, and I'm going to say all the attributes. I say registered image. Once I have that registered, so the image is registered, so I can create a contact and show you how the data is coming to this listener now. So this time I go and create a contact. I just say record contact, fill in some details. So this time it is Joe Smith, and I give some, this is the first detail. So I'm going to, this is creating a contact. I'm going to update a contact now, which is actually going to trigger the plugin. So I say the email is xyz@hotmail.com, and I give a phone number saying it's 425-882-0880. I say save. This has again triggered the plugin. Yes. So another system job is created now. And that is succeeded too. So you see, this is the update, and you also see everything here. You see the depth, what is that is contact, update, and you see the organization name. This is the organization unique name. And you also see the pre and post images. So this listener app just prints out the pre and post images in the console. You can modify this listener app to integrate with your line of business applications. So these are the input parameters. It says this is the pre-entity image, and it also gives the post-entity image where you can see the email address and things like that. So if you see, there will be a email ID or also the phone number in this place. So I'm going to look for the phone number right here. It is the email address, and the phone number is must be somewhere. It's hard to see in this console app. Yes, here is the phone number. Yes, we got all the data. So now you saw how to use the custom service bus plugin as well as the out-of-box service bus plugin to integrate your CRM with your other line of business applications. Now, I also wanted to show there are a few extra steps if you wanted to do this in on-premise. These are two simple steps which take a minute. So I'm going to show you how we do this in on-premise. In the online scenario, this is already done for you, so you don't have to worry about this. So I'm going to log into an on-premise box to demo that. So I'm going to remote desktop onto that box right now. Okay, and I show you the two steps. The first step is to install a certificate. So I load the certificates console. I say add remove snap-in, go to certificates, get into the current computer account, say finish, and I'm going to install a certificate in this location. This is a private cert. This private cert is the one that identifies your CRM deployment uniquely. For the demo, for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use a localhost cert. But in an actual deployment, it has to be a regular, an actual certificate that you get from a trusted authority. So once you go, I have a certificate here, and I'm looking for a private cert. This is the private cert I have. It's always protected by a password. I get the password. I say next. Now the certificate is installed into the certificate store. Okay, we have that. So now what do? You have a certificate installed into your certificate store. How does CRM know about this? So that's what I'm going to do by running this PowerShell script. So I go to PowerShell, and you can look up for these commands in the SDK. This has all the configuration steps that you need. If you look here, it would say that you need to get a public certificate and configure it and things like that. So let's get in there. So these are the details that you need to do. I use this PowerShell. I load the CRM PowerShell in here. Okay, once it is loaded, I'm going to say I'm going to give this command that sets the certificate information in the config database. I just say this localhost, and the second is the cert file, data file. I have to give the path to the certificate. Certificates. And this is the public certificate, which is localhost.cert. So this is loaded. I can verify whether it is done it successfully by doing get CRM certificate. So this prints out all the, from the actual certificate location, it has taken all the public cert and public key and put it into the config database. This is used to identify your CRM deployment uniquely. So if you give permission for this CRM deployment for a particular organization or a user in this CRM deployment, nobody else will be able to sneak in. This is how you protect your endpoint in Azure AppFabric. Thank you for listening to the recording, and we hope you enjoy the session. Thank you. Bye.